Would You Rather from 2012 is a thriller, and it is suspense and horror, a torture porn genre entry, I would say. I liked this movie. I thought it was actually really good. I was surprised of how like meh the general public thought it was, because I really thought this was quite good. It's a coworker's favorite movie, so I wanted to check it out, put it on the list. I found it on Tubi, gave it a go. So the basic premise of this movie is there's all these people that are not in good situations, and their situations would be improved dramatically with money. And so they're all invited. There's 8 people, 8 of these poor people who are in sort of desperate situations. There's 8 of these people. They're invited to this rich, let's say billionaire. They don't really say, but he's got to be like a billionaire. To this billionaire's mansion for this competition. And all these different people are forced to play a game of Would You Rather. And the 2 options of Would You Rather are not glamorous options. And, I think you can sort of imagine where this is going. The more people are made to kill each other. It's like, would you rather put a blade in your eye, or would you rather shoot someone? It's stuff like that, throughout the movie. It starts off a little smaller. The opening, the beginning before they even start playing the game, is actually one of my favorite scenes. And I saw this scene before I even saw the movie. It was on TikTok. It was a little quick clip on TikTok. And I thought I'd check it. I was sort of enthralled by this clip. And this scene, it's before they start the game, before they play Would You Rather. The rich guy notices that Iris, basically the main character of the movie, is a vegetarian, because there's a meal. This is a dinner party as well. And there's a steak, and she's not eating the steak because she's a vegetarian. And she explains that she's a vegetarian. And then he's like, what if I gave you $10,000 to eat, to eat a bite of the steak? And so she does, and that's basically the premise. It's this rich guy making these poor people do these awful things for their amusement. It's very obvious social commentary, and it's not far. I mean, obviously it's a little exaggerated from reality, but some of this kind of thing could happen hypothetically, right? In a closed-off world where the rich people can get away with almost anything, it seems. But still, I really did enjoy this movie, and I was on the edge of my seat for basically the whole thing. And I liked the ending. I don't even have that many notes for it, because I really did like this. But let's look at the Rotten Tomatoes score. Someone could theoretically eat a piece of steak. Yeah, no, that part is... yeah, it's believable. But then they have, after that scene, well, it's the same scene sort of, but after that part, with her eating the steak for $10,000, because, it's like the rich guy's like, haha, you fool, you threw away all your morals just for some money kind of thing, but, he's just loving it because he's a rich asshole, and that's sort of the point of his character. He's the villain. And then there's a recovering alcoholic. He notices that he's not drinking any wine. And so he offers him $50,000 to drink a big old thing of scotch, and he does. And so again, it's even though he's sober for that much time, just an amount of money, because they're so desperate, it'll make them want to do these things. I saw a movie kind of like this. What's it called? This is called Would You Rather. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's kind of like this. It reminded me of Squid Game a little bit, although that's a TV show. Kind of reminded me of that, with all the rich people watching poor people compete for their amusement. It's similar in that respect. But no, I enjoyed this because of what it's not amazingly written or amazingly acted, but something about the premise is just so appealing, and it's written competently enough to keep you engaged and entertained the whole way. At least for me, I was read in it. I was like, "Fuck! What? How's this going to end?" That's sort of what I was thinking. and it ended really cool. I'm not gonna ruin it because it's like a pretty important part of the movie. Yeah, I don't want to ruin the ending, so I won't. But I'll just say I liked it. Let's look at the Rotten Tomatoes. So it's got 61%, which is fresh, just barely fresh, on Rotten Tomatoes. For the critic score, but then the audience score is 37%. So some people just don't like this, I guess. The average rating is 5.5, so it would go down if you went by average rating rather than how many are positive, which is what the default is on Rotten Tomatoes. 5.5 out of 10, so that's what it would go down to, but honestly, I don't agree. I really like this. I'm going to give it like a decently high rating when I rate it, because this is the fucking booty show, and we can do what we want here. But 37% audience score would turn into 2.9 out of 5 for the average rating, so it would go up to like 58% or whatever. I can't do the math, but it would go up is the point. Or like to 60%. But yeah, let's read the critics' consensus. Though restrained by most torture porn standards, Would You Rather's brilliant premise is ultimately harmed by its tendency towards blood and guts. And I think that's such a stupid consensus, because it's a fucking torture porn movie. It's a horror movie. It's gonna be gore in it, and like the plot calls for it too. Like, it makes sense. These people escalating, doing these dangerous things for money, put together by this sadistic fucking rich billionaire guy. It works for the story. Of course there's going to be bloody moments like that. I don't understand that consensus. But anyway, let's read some of the reviews. Hardly a most dangerous game night at the movies. Meh. This restrained exercise in torture porn benefits from its clever concept and restrained execution. Yeah, you see, I liked it. I agree with that. Because it's not, like, I haven't seen Saw 1, but I've seen Saw 3 for some reason. And, like, this is about, I feel like that's gorier than this, or more disturbing. Like, this review sort of states, the fact that the concept, it's really the concept that's holding this shit together. It was really good. I was into it the whole time, and it is, yes, it's a torture porn, but this is one of the best torture porn movies that I've seen, in my opinion. There's others, I'm sure there's others that I haven't seen that I would like. In fact, I've never seen Hostel. I've never seen the first Saw. I actually put the first Saw on the list, so eventually we'll watch it. Because everyone says that's like the good one, and all the other ones are trash. And I've only seen 3, and it was very bad. But I am curious about the first one. And I like the movie Dead Silence, which was made by the same people. It's different. But I like that movie. Anyways, I'm getting a little off topic. With a bit less grisliness, it could have been a mystery dinner theater performance. Well, what the fuck kind of review is that? It's like, so a lot of people, that's what they're saying, is like, oh, it's too bloody. It's a fucking horror movie with gore in it. Of course it's gonna be fucking gore. That's just such a stupid reason to hate on something. That's just your own bias. You gotta fucking give it respect for what it's trying to be. And it did a great job of being what it's trying to be, in my opinion. A shrill indie wood torture porn that, despite promised shocks and revulsions, doesn't even have the conviction to hold its camera on the story's most appalling twists. I agree. I mean, I disagree on that, actually, because I think that they give the perfect amount of time to the twists and the turns. I think that it works. There might be a couple moments where something doesn't make sense and I had to go back, but for the most part, things made sense. And I think there's some of that shit in my notes, so we'll get into it in a bit, but overall, I thought it worked. Jeffrey Combs, once again, elevates a relatively mundane experience into something sort of enjoyable. Yet it's only one of many films in this specific subgenre that fails to stand out in any major ways. I don't know. It standed out enough for me because of like I said, the premise. Would You Rather is a horror film in the truest sense, opening up frightening doors in our minds and making us look at parts of ourselves. It does make you kind of think a little bit. It's not easy, but it is well done and extremely compelling. I see that. That's the one that I've agreed with the most so far, I'd say. Abby Bernstein, not even a top critic. She knows what she's fucking talking about, though, at the same time. But yeah, let's move on. Wait, I missed a bunch of shit. I saw this and gave it a 7 out of 10. Not bad. Jeff Koons is always fun. There's a better movie kind of like this, but I can't remember the name. Well, let me know if you do remember the name, because I'd like to put that on the list, maybe. Because this kind of concept is a fun concept. And when there's a fun concept, I'd like to see all the different movies that are kind of like it. Like Wally's Wonderland. I watched the Banana Splits movies. Those were basically the same, a little different, obviously, but very similar. And now there's this Five Nights at Freddy's movie, which is based on a video game, but it's still that general concept of going into a Chuck E. Cheese type restaurant and the animatronic animals come to life and start killing people. So the same basic premise. So I want to see that, though, too. People say it's shitty, but Matthew Lillard's in it, so I gotta see it. I usually only watch horror movies with one of my mates, and he's a big fan of horror. I kind of get bored with him. And, well, hey, fair enough. To each their own. I like all genres and all types of movie. If it's done well, if it's a fucking period piece, like drama, that's the kind of shit that I don't usually like. But if it's done really well, I like it. You know, I like anything in any genre. I think if it's done to my liking. And I think that is possible for every genre. But I totally get that. Let's look at the Mother Lovin' IMDb page. 5.7 out of 10. They got an ad for Indiana Jones 5. I watched that, by the way. Quick mini review of that. It was fine. It was probably better than 4. But that's the best you can say for it. I think it would have been cooler because the opening sequence where they de-aged him, it looks really good. And it looked like it was just him again, you know, like young Indy. So I think they should have just done a movie like that, a de-aged Indiana Jones. I think it would have been a little bit better. Because for some of the action scenes, it's like, he's fucking 80, like punching Nazis. It just doesn't seem right at certain points, but they did the best they could. It wasn't bad, and like I said, it probably is a little better than 4. But I don't hate 4 either. The movies are all kind of fun, but it was just kind of It's 5.7 out of 10. Again, I would give this a little higher. I like this. He would give it a 7. I think that's fairish. I would probably even give it slightly higher than that, personally. But I would like to see this movie he was talking about that's kind of like this, because I believe it. You know, it's a premise that seems like it would have been done more than once. Brittany Snow. She's the main girl, the main character, Iris. What is she known for? Because her name is familiar. Pitch Perfect. And Pitch Perfect 2. Of course. Hairspray. And Prom Night. Yeah, I mean, I've seen all those except Prom Night. But yeah, she's in this. She does a good job. All the actors are pretty good, I thought. There were no performance where I was like, oh, that was a little wooden or anything. Even like the side characters all did well, I think. June Squibb. I've seen her. I think she's been in like an episode of The Office or something. She's in stuff. She's a classic like old lady actor. June Squibb played Linda. And who else is noteworthy? Crabman from My Name is Earl. He was in this. What's his name? Eddie Steeples. He's good. Who else did I recognize in this? Oh yeah, of course. This was my favorite surprise for as far as acting goes. As far as actors go. In this movie, Rob Wells, motherfucking Ricky from Trailer Park Boys, is in this movie, and he's basically him. He's basically Ricky, but he plays Peter. That every time I see him in another movie, which isn't very often, I think I've only seen him in this, other than Trailer Park Boys, obviously, and like the fucking movie that they made together, but I'm not counting that, the SwearNet movie or whatever. But he was also in Hobo with a Shotgun, which was meh. It was okay. That style has been done better. The trend to recreate the sort of old school grindhouse pictures that's been done better than that. So it's not awful, but there's movies like that are better. But my point is, Ricky from Trailer Park Boys is in this movie. And it was just kind of fun to see him in there. In the mix, he's of course one of the poor struggling people trying to win the game. But yeah, for people who've seen this, the ending was fucking phenomenal. I thought that, because sometimes these types of movies don't end well. Like, they might do it in a lame way, and I thought that this was a cool way to end it, in my opinion. This is a user review. Demented, underrated horror movie about a group of people play a game of Would You Rather to try to win money. I've only seen once before, and even then it disturbed me. Very effective then, I'd say. Delectable, twisted game. What's a weird way of putting it? That is shocking and fairly entertaining. I mean, I agree with that. With that review, I gave it 8 out of 10. Honestly, that's about where I stand on it. About 8-ish, I would give it. We'll see when we get to that point of the stream, or the review, however you want to look at this. What did this? I'm trying to find the budget, the box office information. Usually they have that shit here. Details. Did I go past it? I don't know. They don't have the box office information. They usually do. I'm going to look it up real quick, because I'm curious. Would you rather box office information? The numbers. Let's check it out. I'm curious. Domestic box office, not a plot. Box office. Weekend usually is what. I want the full gross. It just doesn't say. Maybe you can't. Sometimes you can't find them. Well, I'm gonna try one more thing. We're gonna look at we're gonna try to find the Wikipedia page. Would you rather movie Wikipedia? Because there's probably a would you rather for the actual game. Yeah, film. Yes. And if it's not in here, then it doesn't exist. But sometimes the Wikipedia will give you some more fun information. But let's see, box office info, reception. It 59%. It went up to 61, so it is now fresh. References. Yeah, I don't think I can find that information, but that's okay. That's rare. Usually IMDb has it, but that's okay. Shit, I can't think of the other movie, and I know an actor in it, but I can't think of his name right now either. It will occur to me one day. Oh my god, it's Theremin Player, 420 somewhere. Yeah, smoke some weed. I have ADHD, so watching movies can be a pain. Hey, I totally understand that. I mean, I don't know if I have ADHD. It wouldn't surprise me, or ADD, or it wouldn't surprise me if I had either one of those, but I don't know. And because I have to go back, so there's so many times where I have to just rewind when I'm reviewing movies to make sure I get everything. So I get that. But this is one of the few movies that I was pretty much locked in the whole time. I didn't have to rewind very much. There was one part that confused me and I had to rewind a little bit, but only like 3 times, and then I figured out what happened. But you know, because it was one of those things that was just shot so quick, and it's like, what the fuck happened there? So I had to go back. But Theremin Player, we got a shout out. Thanks, D Jesus. Thank you, and also have a hard time watching film. Yeah, that's the thing. It's a long chunk of time, and I feel like it really has to be captivating. And there's movies that do that for me. Like, I mean, lots. I could start just naming movies I like, but like movies that have recently that I've watched that I've just not been able to put down. Fresh on Disney. It's another like sort of horror movie. It's maybe a little more comedic though, about this guy who dates women, but then he tricks them into coming away with him, to the country or whatever, and and then he locks them up and starts operating on them and taking their meat and selling human meat on the black market. That's a different movie. I liked that movie though. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. I watched The Nutty Professor with Eddie Murphy. That was funny. I like dumb humor. Hey, I like that one too. I must say. I've never seen the original film of that. The Jerry Lewis. The Jerry Lewis one. Because that's the original one of that. The Nutty Professor. And my dad's always like, oh yeah, the original's better. But I don't know, is it though? Is it? Because no one talks about the original. Everyone talks about the Nutty Professor. Same with like The Thing from the 50s. No one talks about the 50s Thing because the 80s one is so good. I don't know. Found it cheap. Oh, Cheap Thrills. Oh, nice. I actually have that on the list as well. It's with the guy who played Champ in Anchorman and Todd Packer. That guy, Todd Packer from The Office. Yeah, I saw him talking about it on a podcast, actually, the Norm Macdonald podcast, obviously, before he died, rest in peace. But I remember like thinking that movie sounded really cool, so I wanted to check it out. And I haven't been able to find it anywhere, but it's on the list, yeah. Well, he was the actor I was trying to think of. Yeah, I always forget his name, but you know, he's Todd Packer. I always think of the characters he played, the iconic characters. But there you go. But yeah, Theremin Player, thanks for hanging out. Let's give some shout-outs. I mean, you got a shout-out, so let's give a shout-out to D. Jesus. My friend, I didn't do that yet. Thank you so much. As always, you are legendary. And anybody who's hanging out, just listen to me talk about fucking movies. I appreciate it so much. But that's all of that. So let's look at my notes here. Would you rather notes? There's really not, man. I only have a half a page of notes. Dude just throwing pistachio shells around. So that's my first note. So in the opening scene, or not maybe not the opening scene, but one of the earlier scenes in the movie, the main character, Iris, who she's going to her, I guess he's her psychiatrist or something, Dr. Barden. I forget what his name is. It's not important. The point is that he's like, hey, I have this opportunity for you that might be able to help you pay for your brother's cancer. Because this is the situation that Iris is in. Her brother has cancer and they can't afford to pay for the medical bills. That kind of classic scenario. So that's where she meets the rich guy. And the rich guy's just on a couch in this office. And he has, I think they're pistachios. It's not 100% clear. But it looks like pistachios, and he's just like throwing the shells fucking on the couch. And at first I'm like who would do that? But then I thought about it. I was like, this guy's rich. He fucking like owns this place. He fucking owns everybody. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. He can throw the shells. It don't matter. So it made at first I was like, why? But then I was like, no, it makes sense why. How about the shout out to the guy who made you with the sperm? I mean, I could give you a shout. You don't stream, Dad, but I could, sure, we can give you a shout out. Shout out to my father. He's here. Thanks, Dad. Appreciate the support. And then, what's my next note? Seems a bit sketchy right off the bat. Yeah, right off the bat, it's like, I wouldn't trust this guy, because just the way he describes the contest, it's like, there's only one winner, and like, you just, I feel like it's a big red flag that he only picks one, and like you did, like, I don't know. I wouldn't trust this guy right off the bat. The way he's describing this contest, it seems creepy right away. But you know, you suspend your disbelief, you allow it, and you're like, okay, maybe. And she's desperate, so it makes enough sense. Fucking Ricky and Crabman. So I already said that. The Crabman from My Name's Earl is in this, as well as Ricky from Trailer Park Boys. Those are the people I recognize most. And there's Sasha Grey, who's in this as well. And she's apparently a porn star. I've heard the name before, and that's where I think I've heard it. But I bet people are thinking, oh yeah, you're probably watching that porn. You're watching Sasha Grey. I don't know. Maybe it might have happened. Who knows? But she's in that. She's also like she's an actor and other stuff too. But she's actually good. She did a good job in this. She plays like the bitchy the bitchy girl, basically. I forgot Ricky was in that. Put a link to my OnlyFans. I mean, if you feel free to drop it. Feel free to drop it, Dad. But my next note is, she didn't devour a pile of meat. So yeah, when after Iris eats the meat because she's a vegetarian, and we talked about this scene. She's given $10,000 to go against her morals and eat some meat, and then the rich guy's describing what just happened, and he's like, Iris just devoured a pile of meat. And I'm thinking, no, she fucking didn't. She had one bite of steak, and then you gave her $10,000. Not a pile of meat at all. I guess he was trying to like exaggerate and like use pageantry, I guess, maybe, but it's just not true. So that was my note there. I guess he drank all the scotch, but it was edited weird, so it was hard to tell. So yeah, I guess I better go hassle yo mama. Later, Douglas. Okay, thanks for hanging out, Dad. But yeah, when the guy drinks the scotch, they show him drinking a couple swigs. He's supposed to drink the whole thing. But then the way they cut it, it's like, did he drink it? We find out like in a little bit that he did, but just the way it's edited, it was just kind of weird. I feel like they could have shown that a little bit better. But it's a bit of a nitpick. Both my lenses fell out of your glasses? Fuck, that's annoying. That sucks. Do you get glasses online, or do you go to a store? They're so expensive in a store. I buy them online. Yeah, I know, glasses aren't, but that's why I buy mine so cheap. I get like fucking 5 pairs, or 4 pairs or whatever for like $200. And $200 is like what one pair costs, typically anyway, if you go to a store. But yeah, the online, you get it from the shop. And I get that, but it's way cheaper. If you just get from the eye doctor, if you just get your prescription, and then you plug it into the old interweb, you can get like $40 glasses. It's crazy. Anyway, you get them free? Never mind, it doesn't matter then. It doesn't matter, that's sick. Benefits are dope. Then it don't fucking matter at all. I think I'm starting to get benefits at my job. I wonder if they'll buy my glasses. I literally just bought glasses though, so I won't have to worry about that for a while, because I bought, like I said, 4 pairs. Get a little bit off topic. Let's keep going with the notes. Son isn't supposed to touch, but he does. So this is just a minor note because it works to the character. The rich asshole son is told by the rich asshole father to not touch anybody. He's like, we're just watching the game. You don't fucking touch the people. And of course, he does some bad things and he touches the people. I would have liked to know a little more of what happens to him, because there's a point where Iris tries to escape, and then the rich asshole son tries to catch her, and then because he's a rich asshole, he's trying to rape her as well, but then someone comes in and tries to stop it and shit, but then the asshole father is really mad about this. He's like, that's not what this is about. So, and he goes to talk to the asshole son after this. So I wonder what happened there. I wonder if he hit him, or if he killed him, or if he did anything to discipline him. So I was just curious about that. I get them for free. Oh yeah, I already read that. Moving on. Boo boo doo doo. My next note is Rob is Ricky basically in this. I already said that. Yes, Ricky is in this from Trailer Park Boys, and he's playing basically the same character, which I'm fine with, because this is a situation that Ricky could get in. It seems like, so it actually worked for me. Why was Bevins touching that doorknob? Oh yeah, there was a point where Bevins is looking for Iris because she ran away, and he touches a doorknob weird. And it's like, why wouldn't you open the door to see what's in there? Why are you just touching it? I thought you're trying to find Iris. Why don't you go through the door to look? Instead he just wiggles it and walks away. So I didn't get that. My last note is simply, I hate eye stuff. And I hate eye stuff. It just makes, like, gives me the heebie-jeebies, for lack of a better term. Because he's, like, there's a scene where a guy razor blades his eye. That's what the fucking cover of this movie is a razor blade really close to an eyeball. And that scene had me cringing. I was like, I don't like stuff with the eyes, you know? But, you know, it's just one scene. And I still liked the movie overall, I would definitely say. So, whoa, we got some shit. Okay, booty clap. We can do booty clap. Delicate eyes, yes, exactly. I don't know, something about the eyes. That's the booty clap. Now here's the quiver. Alright. My eyes! But yeah, that was that. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for hanging out, folks. Let's rate. It's funny because this is still going to be a part of the review, that booty shaking part, when I clip it later. But anyway, I did like this movie. I thought it was pretty fun. The concept alone is enough to keep you going. It's enough to be like, okay, this is entertaining, I'm in. Which is why I want to watch Cheap Thrills as well. It's funny that that's the one that my dad was talking about, because it's already on the list. In fact, it was on the list longer than Would You Rather, but I was able to find Would You Rather sooner. So, what am I going to give Would You Rather out of 10? I feel like I liked it enough to give it an 8. Excellent. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Let's give it 8 out of 10. Because I really did enjoy it. And if you don't like this kind of movie, that's fine. But if what I'm saying is appealing to you, if you're the kind of person that likes sort of on the edge of your seat, thriller, horror kind of stuff, I think this might satisfy the craving. Because the premise alone, just like of rich people making poor people do terrible things for their amusement, it's an interesting premise. And maybe not handled absolutely perfectly, but I thought it was competently done enough to be entertaining. So, Would You Rather, 8 out of 10 Dougs.